What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another comic book review video where I say words about a comic that I read and you, the magically delicious, listen. It is I, your crazy Nicolas Cage, your steward of Gondor, your genius, billionaire playboy, basic YouTuber philanthropist, SuperCliff. And would you kindly hit that like and subscribe button for every little bit helps in this majestic YouTube world. And today, guys, we are dipping our toes with this double combo. God, we are so late with this, but whatever, because today, guys, we are covering Infinite Frontiers Suicide Squad, issues 1 and 2, the Assault on Arkham story arc, written by Robbie Thompson, with the art drawn by Eduardo Pensica, inks by Giulio Fieri, and the colors by Marcelo Milo. Sorry, totally butchered your name. And without further ado, let's get freaky. Okay, so our story begins with an overview of past iterations of Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. And basically, this setup is done in a way in order to explain the basics for potential new readers on how the Suicide Squad works. The basics, it's a team that's made up of incarcerated supervillains whom are sent on Black Ops missions in exchange for reduced prison sentences. And if a squad member decides to disobey orders or tries to escape, the bomb in their neck will take them out. And yeah, that's essentially what the Suicide Squad is, cannon fodder. However, as we pan away from the Task Force X files over the Colonel Rick Flag, dude seems pretty pissed off. And the reason for that is because apparently Amanda Waller wants to build a new squad called Task Force Z, a squad that can rival the Justice League, but it involves multiversal kidnapping. And though Amanda Waller is the sort of person that will do whatever it takes to protect the world, Rick Flag, he isn't about that life to that extent. For the Suicide Squad is already controversial enough within the DC universe. And so the fact that Waller wants to use subjects from various other multiverses for her cause is just way too far. But according to Amanda, the reason she's leaning heavily towards this concept is because she's tired. Tired of losing, tired of building squads, only to see them die, unable to reach their full potential. Yet Rick tells Waller that, yeah, that's the point of the squad. It's a squad made up of losers, the lowest of the low, across the moral spectrum pole. They're not good people. They're not heroes. Now Rick, he's always stood behind the squad's mission statement, fight darkness using darkness. The ends justify the means. Or the quote Bane, a necessary evil. But sadly, what he sees Waller planning is straight up darkness. Thus he declares that he won't allow her to continue with constructing Task Force Z. But hold on to your butt, Mr. Rick Flag, because Amanda Waller don't give a damn whether or not you're on board, son, because the planning, the first steps towards constructing the squad have already begun. Now, this is where we pick up in Arkham Asylum, a place where dreams are made, and we see a pair of guards patrolling the perimeter, making sure everything is okay. But sadly, it's not, at least for these two, because these champs are immediately taken out by Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker. Now, in case you guys don't know anything about Peacemaker, I have a quote here from John Cena, and it's widely accurate, so here we go. Peacemaker is douchey Captain America. The more you know. And so our guy here is soon joined up with Filmmaker, Bolt, and Shriek, and they're all in position for the task at hand. And this is where we pick back up with Amanda Waller, and she's getting intel from Peacemaker, informing her that the package has been compromised. Now Rick Flag, he is shocked to see that Waller assigned Peacemaker as field commander, because Rick thinks the guy is a maniac. And to be fair, Rick's not wrong. Yeah, sure, Peacemaker, he wants to do the right thing, achieve peace. Seems pretty noble, right? Well, Peacemaker is also the sort of dude who literally has no problem killing 30 kids in order to achieve that peace. Peacemaker takes his job very seriously. And so because Rick knows this, he tells Peacemaker that he knows just how much he loves the chain of command. So listen here, bud, I'm Colonel Flag, and I'm ordering you to stand down. But suddenly Flag is immediately electrocuted by Waller. And as Peacemaker reports in saying that he couldn't make out what he was saying, Waller straight up lies, telling Peacemaker to not worry about it. Now Waller tells Peacemaker that the package they're meant to retrieve isn't compromised because whomever it is that they're breaking out, he just doesn't know who he is. So get him out now. And as we switch back to Arkham, we find out who the squad is attempting to break out, that being Talon, William Cobb. Now, seemingly Talon, he's not all there mentally because once Bolt comes closer and tells Cobb that they're going to break him out, Cobb looks at him in the eye like a freak and slashes him, immediately killing him via prison shank toothbrushes. And holy shit, that's hilarious and messed up at the same time, but I digress. Next we see Flag, chained up in a cell by Waller. And as Rick is beginning to wake up, Waller tells him that, bro, I wish I didn't have to do this to you, but sadly, Rick, you forced my hand, and I can't have you go full-on Boy Scout on me. But in response, he tells her that she's insane. But Amanda is like, no, I'm actually not. Maybe for the first time in my entire life, I'm clear. Afterwards, we turn back over to Arkham, and we see Talon just kicking everyone's ass. Like, it's almost comedic at this point. Now, if you thought things couldn't get worse, then let me be the bearer of bad news. Because as our characters are trying hard to contain Talon, Joker gas begins to seep throughout the entire facility. Now remember guys, back in Infinite Frontier issue number 0, Joker gas leaked all throughout Arkham, which of course was a distraction in order for someone to murder Bane. So just know that this issue is taking place at that exact same time. Anyways, now as the gas starts to consume the entire area, we see Film Freak bite the dust, with the toxin killing him. And so as our squad is desperately trying to find an escape route, we pan back over to Amanda Waller. And as Waller's leaving Flag to rot in his cell, she mentions that he's just like anyone else on Task Force X, replaceable. And to his surprise, she actually already has a suitable replacement. And once a giant cell starts to open up, we see Rick Flag's replacement, Connor Kent, aka Superboy, chained up in kryptonite shackles. Afterwards, we pick back up with Talon and Peacemaker, making their escape throughout the facility, leaving Shriek behind to be killed off by the Joker toxin. And once our two characters make it through the other room, we see a platoon of guards rushing towards them, converging the pair from all directions on the staircase. And from there, Peacemaker, he turns over to Talon and he says, welcome to the Suicide Squad. And now, let's get to work. And so, with that being the conclusion to issue 1, let's move on to issue 2. Same creative team as before, and this issue continues with Peacemaker and Talon fighting off the guards in Arkham Asylum, while at the same time, they're trying to escape as fast as they can before the Joker toxin can kill them. Now, as these two are desperately fighting off the Legion of Guards, we're given some additional backstory regarding Peacemaker, along with the knowledge of how he became the squad's new field commander. And the reason is because Waller apparently threw Peacemaker into prison based off some trumped up charges. Plus, not only is Peacemaker regretting his decision on becoming the Suicide Squad's new leader, Talon, the guy whom the squad are trying to break out, doesn't remember anything except Kung Fu, and the only word that he's shown to be saying is who. So yeah, the situation here sucks. And as the prison riot continues, to make matters worse, the Joker toxin is beginning to seep through the next room. And on top of that, Peacemaker starts getting moshed on. And thus Peacemaker, he starts calling out to Waller, begging her to trigger the bomb in his neck, because he doesn't want to die from Joker toxin. Plus, Peacemaker is also super dedicated, so he's thinking that if the bomb in his neck goes off, it will at least manage to kill off several of the guards, thereby allowing Talon to escape. But fortunately, none of that needs to happen, because this is where we see the arrival of Amanda Waller's second Suicide Squad, which is led by Superboy. And alongside him is Calibra, Mind Warp, Nocturna, and Exit. Now Exit, he possesses low-level teleportation abilities. So hence as to how the team was able to show up in the middle of the shitstorm. Also, the squad brought along with them gas masks for everyone and for both Peacemaker and Talon. And with the team putting on their mask, we see the inmates and all the guards succumb to the effects of the Joker toxin, dropping off like flies. Now check it, because as these events continue to play out, keep in mind folks, that shit's hit the fan. Plus with the news of the Joker attack likely hitting up every single Gotham news outlet, Batman, the Dark Knight, is on his way. Therefore, Waller has sort of had to improvise and breaking Talon out successfully. And it's why we see Calibra carrying a dead body, because they have to make it look like no one's missing. They need to fake Talon's death. And since Arkham has Talon listed as a John Doe, it's in their favor. Meanwhile, back where all the action is, Superboy is trying to save as many people as he can, whilst at the same time, Superboy is enforcing the law to his squad mates, forbidding them from killing anyone. However, everyone is telling him that, dude, what are you talking about? Like, bro, this isn't the Titans or the Young Justice. We're the Suicide Squad. We suck. So we play this game differently than compared to other teams. But again, Superboy is wanting to save as many people as he can. However, Superboy, he isn't aware by what he's doing, he's actually jeopardizing the mission, jeopardizing his squad, because the toxin is making its way through. Therefore, they don't have enough time to save everyone. They need to hurry up and get Talon out of there ASAP. Therefore, Exit activates one of his portals, while Mind Warp is using his ability to erase people's minds, so that none of the guards or the inmates can remember that Task Force X was here breaking Talon out of Arkham. Now, amidst the struggle, both Mind Warp and Exit's gas masks break, and they immediately begin to succumb to Joker's toxin. And because Waller is so fed up with Superboy's bullshit, she shocks him using kryptonite, knocking him unconscious so that Peacemaker, Talon, and Calibra can grab everyone and escape through the portal. And they do that just in the nick of time before Batman enters the room, seemingly finding no trace whatsoever of the Suicide Squad's presence. Now, switching back to Bella Reeve, the squad is met by Amanda Waller, and she presents Talon, William Cobb, with his Talon costume. Now, with Superboy laying on the ground, seemingly dying due to the amount of kryptonite he was exposed to, Waller has Calibra inject a serum into Superboy's chest, pulling a Pulp Fiction move, if you will, which then causes him to immediately wake up, bringing him back to life. Now, Peacemaker is pissed off. He's so pissed off at Superboy. He blames Superboy for having lost two of his teammates, Exit and Mind Warp, also because Superboy wants to save people, then prioritize the mission. And so we're seeing these two butt heads, as if they're prepping up for some UFC fight. Now, Peacemaker tells Superboy that you think you're him, don't you? You think that you're Superman. Well, guess what, dude? You're nothing but spare parts, and you nearly cost me my first mission as head of this team. And so since I'm still in charge, and you still have that shot running through your body, let me make my message clear to you. And with that, Peacemaker punches Superboy across the face, knocking him down to the ground. And once Superboy hits the ground, Peacemaker tells him to follow orders or else. Now, once the team goes their separate ways, getting a moment's worth of cooldown, Calibra asks Waller as to what's next, what's our plan moving forward, and Waller tells her that we're way too slow. Therefore, we need to fix that. We need speed. And this is where we pan over to the TV screen that Waller is looking at because Amanda Waller wants to recruit Jolt to the Suicide Squad. And that, folks, was Suicide Squad, issues 1 and 2. And holy crap, were these issues solid. Alright, so first things first. When it comes to the characters, Robbie Thompson does an excellent job setting up Peacemaker as the squad's new field leader. And what's interesting about his character is the fact that, yeah, the dude's down to do whatever it is that the chain of command wants him to do, yet the man, he does live by a code. So I'm exceptionally intrigued to see what happens once Peacemaker finds out that Waller's been lying to him and wanting to achieve peace. Amanda Waller wanting to create a rival Justice League is great, and it makes sense. Plus, it's keeping up with the Future State timeline that we saw earlier this year. And why sure, Robbie Thompson's Future State may not play out exactly step by step, but overall, I am wanting to see how we get to that point, along with what happens with Rick Flag in the process. Superboy joining the squad seems weird, and it's definitely not something you probably would ever think of, yet it works. It works simply because, unlike the other members, Superboy is a good person. However, his goodness is a flaw here because, sure, seeing Connor want him to save everyone is admirable, but he's on the Suicide Squad, where only the mission matters. So I'm curious to see how Superboy will balance between being a hero to just another one of Amanda Waller's lackeys. In addition, which I think is the most important thing that one needs in order to write a successful Suicide Squad book, are the stakes. Too many times past have the Suicide Squad books gotten runs where very few squad members end up getting killed. And it's definitely a problem where your squad includes fan favorites such as Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, etc., etc. The fact that the book is using characters such as Talon, Peacemaker, characters who aren't particularly used a lot, along with made-up villains for these issues, adds this feeling that no one is safe. And truthfully, it's probably because DC has nothing to quite honestly lose if a character like Bolt or Nocturna dies unceremoniously. Also, because characters here have a higher chance of dying, like let's say Peacemaker dies in issue 7, we the reader might actually feel more emotion than if Peacemaker were to die in the background somewhere during Dark Knight's death metal. For the Suicide Squad book allows the opportunity to take characters that no one gives a shit about or to make up in order to provide a sense of stakes, but also a chance to enhance a character's strength as a character. Robbie Thompson clearly understands that here. So yeah, keep doing great things. The art by Eduardo Pensica was utterly fantastic. His talents bring a ton of incredible detail to the panels, especially during the intense action scenes, like whenever we see Peacemaker fighting off a mosh pit of guards. Some really great stuff, and definitely an artistic gem for the comic book industry. Also, Peacemaker, his design here is incredible. Definitely a highlight for these 2 issues. Infinite Frontier Suicide Squad issues 1 and 2 were fantastic, and I kept wanting more and more the further I read. I cannot wait for more of these issues to come, and I'm curious to see how the squad will handle in apprehending the character of Bolt. But yeah, guys, if you're looking for another great series to read, then definitely check out Robbie Thompson's Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad issues 1 and 2 get a 9.5 out of 10. Giggity goo.